Hey guys.
Happy Sunday. So I have to say, Mr. Huff and I are feeling pretty tired at the moment.
Yeah.
So we tackled a really grubby project today. This is round one or two of, I'm sure, many.
Yeah, that's an understatement. It's super grubby.
Yeah, but you can see I'm very grubby. I'll be headed to the shower soon.
Me too. She's probably a little grubbier than I am because she did more work than I did.
Yeah, but I think we're frugaling our way through a new project that we're trying to figure out. So we'll show you that today. And then we're also going to be in the kitchen sharing a new breakfast recipe, something that I think is ideal for the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
So you ready to get to it so we can get cleaned up?
Let's do it.
All right. Okay, today we have a chimney sweeping project on the agenda. And I have to say, I'm actually excited about this. So just to give you a little bit of background, here in France, if you're using your fireplace, you have to have it professionally swept once a year. And I think it's actually twice a year if you have a wood stove. And if you don't do this and have a fire, then your homeowner's insurance is void. So this is a very, very important task. Now, last year when we had ours swept, they mentioned all of this tar buildup that you can see here on the back wall of the fireplace. And that company, I'm not going to remember the word for this, but they had suggested a process where they basically dragged chains up and down the chimney to loosen all of that tar. Now, this is a project that comes with lots of risk because obviously it's a pretty rough process and you can often have stones falling out of your chimney. So you actually have to sign saying that they're not going to be held responsible for any damages. So obviously that did not sound like a great plan. I talked to another chimney sweep and he had recommended a chemical product that we could use to clean the tar ourselves. Now this is basically the equivalent of like those chimney sweeping logs that you can buy in the US. And we had used those before because when we had a cabin, we actually had a double fireplace and we did all of the chimney sweeping ourselves. So we had all of the brushes and the stuff to do it. So what we're going to do today is start working on this tar buildup. Now this is really, really extensive buildup on this back wall. So I'm not expecting this to be a one and done situation. But instead of buying the chimney sweeping log to be a little more economical, I bought a can of this stuff. So it's basically the same stuff that's in the chimney sweeping logs, but it's in like a loose powder. And this was only like €6 or €7 for an entire container. And so this is designed so that you basically like light a fire and let it burn down for a couple hours. And you sprinkle this on, and it's supposed to work on all of the acids in the tar so that you can then come back later and brush it and everything is sort of soft and just falls off. So we did bring all of our chimney sweeping stuff with us from the US. So we're gonna do this today. We'll probably brush it tomorrow, and then we'll repeat the process however many times we need to get all that buildup down. Now, I was not aware of this powder last year, but it says you can sprinkle a couple little scoops of this every couple fires, and then it just sort of is cleaning your chimney on an ongoing basis. So knowing that now, we'll do that. And I'm also thinking we'll just make this a part of our routine every year when we know we have our appointment scheduled for the chimney sweep, that maybe a day or two before they come, we'll do a big run of this and then have everything softened up so that when they come to do sweep, that as much comes off as possible. All right, so let's get a fire started. Okay, so I think we just had a bit of a breakthrough. Mr. Huff removed quite a bit of tar just basically by chiseling it off. And then he had the idea to make up some soapy water with just using dish soap. And he's been brushing that now onto the stone, and it seems like it's cleaning them up quite a bit. So we'll give this a go for a little bit and see how it turns out. I showed you we had started using dish liquid to remove some of the tar, and that was helping. And that got me even more interested in trying something that I had been wondering about from the beginning. So I showed you that we started this process by sprinkling this anti-tar powder in our hot ashes, which is supposed to help remove the ash and the soot from the chimney. So when I was purchasing this item, the description said that it reacted on the acid in the tar. So to me, that meant this had to be a base. So even before I bought this, I was wondering if maybe this is just simply a big canister of baking soda. I don't know for sure what is in here because there's not an active ingredient list. There's not even any active or any ingredient list on this container. But I thought, let's see what happens if we try to remove this with baking soda. So I sprinkled a lot of baking soda in just kind of a big mop bucket of water, hot water, and applied it directly to the stone. Not everywhere yet, just mostly concentrating in this area that you see through here, because I just kind of wanted to have a test patch. And right away, you could hear kind of the sizzling noise, and you could see the little bubbling action that you would expect when you mix, say, something like vinegar and baking soda together. So that really got me excited. We could see it was seeming like it was coming off a bit. So we kind of did a big wet application in that area and left it overnight just to sit. And when we came back this morning, without any additional scrubbing, you can see we have areas now where all of the tar has just come off completely. So what we're going to try now is, instead of doing kind of a wet mop bucket formula, we're going to mix it up, the baking soda with water, in more of like a paste, and just brush it on and then let it sit for a bit. And then we'll come back and clean it off and see where we get. But I can say neither one of us were expecting to be able to take this down to bare stone again. We really were just, again, trying to get the heavy buildup of tar, like you see up here, off. And so we've certainly already accomplished that down here, but it looks like we're going to be able to clean this stone quite a bit more than we expected. All right, so I just mixed up my baking soda paste. You can see it's just kind of just wet enough that it's hopefully going to stick to the walls. I'm going to apply this and then just leave it for a while. Now, I can only go as far as my baking soda supply goes today. So it's Sunday, I can't go out and buy anything else today. So we probably won't get this all done today, but we can at least do another good test and pick up some more tomorrow. I don't think there's going to be any baking today. My baking soda supply is all going to this. All right, I've got enough to make one more batch, so we might actually get more coated today than I thought. All right, I wanted to give you an end of the day update on our fireplace cleanup. So definitely still have work to do. However, I have to say we made major strides with the baking soda. Now, when we started, it was dirty all through here. And this is the section that Mr. Huff focused on the most. So you can see he was able to really uncover the stone. So huge progress. We didn't necessarily expect to ever get it that clean. And then in general, we've gotten most of the really molten lava looking stuff off. So the tar isn't all super shiny anymore. Got quite a bit off through this section here as well. So our plan now, so like I said, we were using baking soda on this. Baking soda is a base, has a pH of 9. I think what we're going to do is pick up some washing soda this week when we're at the store. Washing soda is a little more basic. It has a pH of 11, so it should have even more cleaning power. But again, super excited when you know that this section through here was completely black and just molten lava looking, and that it's clean now. It really shows how much progress we've made. So again, just to remind you, our goal here is not anything ridiculous like trying to have a 400-year-old fireplace look brand new. This is really about getting tar off from a safety standpoint so that we get a clean certificate for our homeowner's insurance, but also maybe just getting it cleaned up a little bit from an aesthetic standpoint, that it looks just a bit nicer. So we'll update you in a future video once we've got it done and show you the before and after. Okay, today I'm going to be sharing my new pancake muffin recipe. Now, this is a great recipe to serve over the holidays because it comes together really easily, but it's also a little different. So this has everything that you love about pancakes: the syrup, the fluffy pancake consistency, and then all of the fun mix-ins. So this is a very easy recipe to put together. We're going to be using pancake mix, and today I'm using my homemade buttermilk pancake mix. This recipe is on the website if you're interested. It makes wonderful pancakes and waffles. Then we're also going to be using your choice of either real maple syrup or pancake syrup. Now today I'm using our homemade pancake syrup, and this recipe is on our website as well. I think it only takes, we calculated like 62 cents to make a batch of this, so very economical. And then we have just a few other basics. We have eggs, a little bit of milk, and then of course mix-ins. Now, one of the things that I love about this recipe is that you can make several different flavors of pancake muffins in the same pan. So today we're going to do half of a pan of blueberry ones and then the other half chocolate chip. So this can be really fun if you're serving guests and you want to make a bunch of different types to accommodate everybody. But it would also be a great activity to get in the kitchen with kids over the holidays and let them do the little final mix in of all the toppings. So let me show you how easy this recipe is. We're going to start with pancake mix. And as I said, I'm using my homemade mix here, but you can use any type of pancake mix for this purpose. All right, so let's get that measured. And you'll notice I am spooning in rather than scooping so that we don't end up with more flour or more pancake mix than intended. Okay, so there's our first one. One more of those. Now this pancake mix is just something that I periodically mix up in bulk, and then we have it on hand for quite a while. And the great thing about this pancake mix, a lot of them you have to tweak them, tweak the batter in order to make waffles, but this one works perfectly for pancakes or waffles without any tweaks to the recipe. Okay, so we got our pancake mix. And now we're just going to add all of our wet ingredients. So we've got our egg, and our milk, and finally we have our homemade pancake syrup. And this is something we have been making for, I don't know, more than 20 years at this point. And I didn't mention earlier, but one of the main reasons we got into making our own pancake syrup, in addition to the savings, was that we're able to make it with real sugar rather than high fructose corn syrup. So it's a good in-between if you can't justify the cost of real maple syrup, but you really don't want all the high fructose corn syrup. All right, I'm gonna get all of that out so we don't have any waste. Okay, now we're just gonna stir that together. Now this is gonna make a batter that's the consistency of pancakes. So it's gonna be a thin batter. It's not gonna be thick like a lot of muffin batters are. So don't let that throw you when you're making this. And we just want to stir it until everything's incorporated and the consistency's smooth. You can smell the syrup. Okay, so all the powder is mixed in. I'm just going to give this a quick blast with my immersion blender just to work out any of the lumps. Okay, and you may not find that step necessary at all. I just had some little clumps of buttermilk powder in there that I wanted to break up. Okay, so we'll set that aside. Okay, so now we have the batter for our muffins. Now this is going to make 12 muffins as written, but if you're cooking for a big group and you want to make more, you could easily double or triple this recipe with no trouble. Okay, so then I'm just going to spoon 2/3 full. This is a greased muffin pan. I'm just going to fill each cup 2/3 full because we want to leave some room for our fun toppings. And this is something you could certainly make these the night ahead and then just warm them up in the morning if you don't want to have to rush to prepare breakfast for everybody. And like I said, I don't think you're going to have any trouble getting kid volunteers with this one because it's lots of fun to be able to toss in chocolate chips or fruit or sprinkles. Almost got them. Now, if you have one of those pancake batter dispensers, that would be ideal for this recipe because you could fill these cups without any drips. All right, I've got a little more mix, so we'll go ahead and divide that up between these. I think this pan's a little smaller than my other one. Okay, so fun part, mix-ins. And like I said, on this particular batch, we're gonna do half and half blueberry and chocolate chip. So I'm just gonna take a handful in each muffin cup. And I found that about 2 cups or a pint is going to be enough blueberries to do a whole batch of 12. So we're using about a cup here today. And then more like a cup of a mix-in like chocolate chips to do the whole pan. So this is about a half a cup that we'll be using of chocolate chips today. Okay, so you can see super easy. We're going to get this into a 350-degree oven, and these are going to take between 25 and 30 minutes. All right, so I'll check back with you in just a little bit when these are done. Okay, so the pancake muffins are out of the oven. Take a look. So I absolutely love this recipe because you get all of the color and texture of a pancake in this easy to hold breakfast and super easy to make. These would be amazing on a brunch spread. So I guarantee if you make this recipe for your family over the holidays, it's going to end up becoming one of your traditions. So as usual, I will include a link to this recipe in the description below the video, as well as a link to my pancake mix and my pancake syrup.